Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, that website address for you is theclinicaltrialsguru.com. It's been a very busy last couple of weeks here at South Coast Clinical Trials, and I haven't had that much time to make these videos this past week, and I apologize. We've had tons of stuff going on, but I wanted to talk to you about one of the things that's been going on is site selection visits. And I've been getting asked a lot of questions. And by the way, shameless plug, in order to get these site selection visits, you have to have study leads. And for that, people have been asking me, and I have tons of free content on the blog regarding how to get more studies, more clinical trials for your research clinic. But if you want a 95-minute action-packed DVD with no fluff, just countless ways and proven strategies to get studies, check out my DVD. It's on the blog. It's under the tab Get More Studies. Simple enough. So anyways, site selection visit is basically when a sponsor will send a monitor out, either someone from the CRO or someone from the sponsor company themselves, to check out your site. And what they're going to want to do is kind of what I'm going to talk about in this video. I've done this type of video in the past, but it's been a while, and I've learned more things about site selection visits as I've done more of them. So number one, they want to meet with your PI. That is an absolute must. There are some exceptions. If your PI is very experienced, they do sometimes accept a phone call. So if your PI is not necessarily available in person, he or she may be available by phone, and they should make themselves available. But in those cases, and those are rare cases, right, you still want to have a sub-investigator there, and you still want to have most of your sub-Is there, like your sub-investigators, your coordinators, for sure, and really try to have your PI there. It does help a lot. So that's number one. When they first come in, they're going to meet the PI and probably the sub-I and some of the study coordinators. They are the first thing they're going to do at a site selection visit is go through the protocol presentation. So by this point, your site has already signed the CDA, confidentiality agreement, the secrecy agreement, whatever it is you call it. So they're going to explain the protocol to you and your investigator, and they're going to ask them whether they think that this study is feasible. All right. Now, there's various hints during these site selection visits as to what you can expect when you actually have the trial and you are enrolling. But we'll get to that later, and we'll get to that in other videos because I'm trying to keep it short. So they're going to go through the protocol. This can take anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. It really depends on the protocol itself, how lengthy it is, and depends on your staff, how many questions they have to ask. And it's always good to ask questions. It shows that you're interested. It shows that you've done your homework. It shows that you're prepared. So if at all possible before these site selection visits, try to have someone from your site, especially the PI, be pretty well versed on the protocol. They don't have to know it front and backwards, but they should know the general idea of the protocol. After the protocol, they're going to ask you how many subjects you think you can enroll. They're going to ask you for numbers. They're going to ask for specific numbers. They're going to ask for previous examples. So, for instance, if you have a study for migraines, they're going to ask you for your enrollment numbers from previous studies. Now, you don't have to mention what drug companies you did these studies with, but you should provide accurate numbers. So, if you had a study where you randomized 10 patients a year ago, you want to tell them what phase it was and how many you did and how many you originally agreed to do and how long it took you to get to those enrollment numbers. So they will ask you how many subjects you think you can enroll in the study, and they're going to ask you for metrics from the past. Again, the more you have to show them, the better your chances are of getting this study. The next thing they're going to ask is where you're going to get these subjects from. So is it from your private practice, from your PI's private practice, from your sub-I's private practice? Is it from referrals from other clinics or from other medical practitioners? Is it through advertisement? There's no right or wrong answer, but they do want to know specifics, and their main concern is, they have two major concerns. Number one, they want to make sure that you're interested in doing the study and that you know what you're doing. That's number one. And number two, they want to make sure that if you do take the study on, that you can enroll X amount of patients. And a lot of sites are tempted at this point to give exaggerated numbers. Like they say, yeah, we'll enroll like 500 patients in this study. I would avoid doing that for numerous reasons. Number one, if your figures are just over the top and way out of the norm as far as what other sites tell them, you're probably not going to get the study. Number one, they know you're lying. And number two, they obviously know you don't know what you're doing. So you don't want to give exaggerated numbers. And even if your numbers are not that much out of the normal range, be careful what you tell them that you're going to enroll, because they're going to hold you to that. So if you tell them 20, when in reality you can only screen or randomize 15 subjects, even if you hit 15, you're going to look kind of foolish in their eyes, as opposed to another site who, for the very same study, promises 10, but they actually also enroll 15. They actually look better than your site, because it's what you project, and the sponsors really almost set that in stone, because that's how they plan their studies out. So that's going to happen during the site selection visits, and then they're going to want to tour the facility. They're going to want to know where you store the drug, your investigational product, your temperature logs. They're going to look at your calibration logs, your CLIA waivers, any laboratory regulations, any certificates, training. They want everyone's CV, they want everyone's experience, medical licenses, all that kind of stuff. And they'll of course want to tour the facility as well. Typically, a site selection visit can last 2 to 4 hours, although for the more complex protocols like the one I had today, it lasted 8 hours, 9 to 5. As I'm doing this, it's 5 o'clock, and I believe the monitor is still there with my staff. But good thing I have excellent staff members who take care of this stuff. Anyways, check out the DVD, How to Get More Studies, so that you can get site selection visits, and then you can follow this advice and knock it out of the park at your site selection visit. I want to give a shout out to my Clinical Trial Guru producers. That's Sarah Elizabeth Siegler, Resolve Research Solutions, Accurate Clinical Trials, Erdhart Clinical Trials, PTNR, Patrick Stone. We have Darshan Kulkarni from Kulkarni Law Firm, Biopharm Systems, Mozio, SimeWire, South Coast Clinical Trials, Breakthrough Clinical Trials, and our most recent Clinical Trial Guru producer, St. Paul Medical Research Center out of Miami, Florida. Thank you very much. Special shout out to you guys. And if you want to be a producer, let me know. It's $99 for a lifetime membership. I'm only accepting 100, and that's it. This is meant to be an exclusive group, and I might raise the price soon. I mean, it depends. But right now, we still have a good amount of people. I'm accepting up to 100. Let me know, and let me know how you do at your site selection visit in the comments here. And also, any other strategies would be helpful. Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.